So again, I am going over this dashboard, which exists inside of the OpenPath SecOps app, and it's called the OpenPath User Dashboard. Basically, it tells me, who's been logging in, who's been doing what. I can see your activity here. Then, as you can see here, it gives me the top 10. But if I wanted to open up this into a new view, I would click here. I don't think I have drill down enabled. If I had drill down enabled, I can click in here. And the way to enable drill down basically means that you can open up the search into a new tab, or you can actually look at the activities in there. To open up drill down, you just click edit, as you see me did up here, edit. And then you'll go to the tab that you want to search. Then you click on this three little dots over here. Click edit drill down. So right now there's no action. So you have the option to link to a dashboard, link to report, link to custom URL, manage the tokens, and then we're going to do link to search in this case. So the auto search, or the auto function, basically says if you click on this piece and you select this piece, it basically goes into what you're looking for. If you customize it, then you can customize like the time frame and all this other stuff. Here it takes pretty much everything that's been passed from this dashboard. It passes that into the auto token. So the time frame, the specific drill down that you clicked into, it passes all of that into it. In this case, if you select custom, then you have the option to either do a shared time picker in terms of time range, use a picker, and then you can do global. So global essentially is, it's allowing you to pick from any one of the uh, the time pickers that's available there for you. So if you have a global setting, then you can use that. We'll work through that one. And then the tokens is if you have like a token. So time.earliest is the general token used for these. They're usually surrounded in this if you wanted to pass that. So you may see it often this way. Whenever you see this right here, means that it's been tokenized. So that means anything you see inside of that is represented as a token somewhere. For this case, we're just going to use an auto. Then we're going to take away this thing right here. It shouldn't affect it, but I just like to take this away. So we're just going to use auto. And then once you click apply, so what happens then is before I wasn't able to click into that, but once I click into this now, it basically allows me to go inside that search and then it selects that specific click through that I picked. It uses that as a variable that it passes into my search. So that's what happens. In the power user portion, I'll show you guys how to do that. Like click.name, click.row, stuff like that. You'll be able to click into it to do like some advanced dashboards. And let's see. All right, so here, the one that I wanted to work on was this. So right now, by default, this dashboard gives me just the top 10 people, right? So I have the option. So I can do this. I can do limit equals 0. So that means just give me everybody. I can specify a limit if I want. So I'm just going to say 0. Just give me everybody that's logged in. So then what it does, then it will rerun the search and it'll give me everybody that's logged in. It'll give me a full count of the names. And it should populate that, I guess, whenever it finishes. Let me make sure it's using the right time frame. Yeah, it is. It's a base search, or it's a post-process search rather. So we'll just save here. So what, this is still running. Why is it taking so long to find people? But what I would typically do then is I can click, I'm sorry. I didn't actually do a drill down. So before I can actually drill down into it, but now, say I do the same thing, and drill down, link to search, apply it, and then now I have the ability to actually click into that. So let's say I want to click for, who's this person? Mercy. Okay, Mercy, you've been doing quite a bit of searching. Oh, it didn't pass your user down. That's actually weird. I thought I clicked your name. I was pretty sure I did. I'm not sure why I didn't pass your user down. All right, so let's not click at it. Let's click Timmy Jai. See if it'll pass Timmy down. Nope. So it didn't pass Timmy down. I have to figure out why it's not passing that user down. Maybe a visualization issue. But typically you can click on like this piece over here. As you guys saw, let's click Timmy here. And I'm pretty sure it'll pass Timmy down, right? Yeah, so it passes you down here. So there's certain visualizations that you have that will pass it down. There's some that you won't. You have to basically say, force it to pass, whatever selection you do. And I think there's a click dot select or something like that that allows you to do that on different visualizations. So with a time chart, it's going to be different tokens that's going to be passed down versus a pie chart versus a table. You're going to have different visualization that you'll see for that. But anyway, so let's go to the dashboard that we or the panel that we opened up. So now you see all the users have been selected. And then here, this one's not really a good one because it like overlaps. This is like confusing. I would not typically use this in a setting at a job to show users logged in, because the stuff is overlapping. You don't know what's what. But even this is still like not as good. So what I would typically do if I'm able to, I would basically map this out to be into like a trellis. So this way it's a lot easier to see like the login. So we say, okay, so this person logged in, which logged in, to logged in. Then you can put this in like a dashboard, and then you can separate it, and then you can do a whole bunch of other stuff with colors and all the other jazz if you need to. Now, if you wanted to also do it in the area chart, you can do it this way also. And then you can see it in this light. And then the area chart, of course, doesn't have everything all in single that overlaps it. Another thing to consider also, I think, is to make it independent. So when you make it independent, it doesn't take into account any other numbers. Right now, if you make it shared, what it does is basically goes off of the biggest scale, and then it does a what's the word? It does a sort of like a comparison. It tries to basically adjust its numbers or its chart area based upon what it sees over here. But we're saying we want it to be independent. Act as if that's the only number you see, and then try to scale it based on that. So when you do that, that's what happens here. And then now you can see all your numbers based upon the users. Oh, Tama logged in? Huh, that's interesting. I think he may have a search that's probably running. I don't think he actually logged in. So, and it's this search, I think I have to clean up too, because there's some stuff that TK, I have two TKs. So TK probably has, I think we had an old user for him. He has an underscore and he has a dot. So we'll have to look at that. And then Patrick Latsaka Gmail. So some of these look like they're scheduled jobs that are running versus actual like, users. So that's something we'll have to, I can fine tune in here. But again, this is just something you can look at. You can, if you're in your job environment, they say, hey, we want to see users' activities, they're logged on, you can easily build something like this for them to see that. And all this is in your underscore audit index. Any questions? Somebody's off mute. Did you have a question? I guess maybe not. All right, cool. All right, so we've done that. Okay, let's get into the question I asked in class, which is, so customer says, hey, I have a list of bad IPs in my environment. And I have a list of IPs. My users are doing X, Y, and Z searches. And I want to make sure these IPs that we've basically got from my threat intelligence, device, whether it's your IDS, IPS, or you have like some type of script that's grabbing, IPs that are malicious or virus total, whatever it is, you're grabbing some type of IPs that you've identified as bad IPs, and you want to be able to check in your environment if those IPs are existed in your logs. So let's run that. Let's run through that scenario, right? So before actually we even do that, let me show you guys. So index equals main. I added some data sets for you guys. Add some DNS, some stream data in here. I added some SMTP data. SMTP is like your mail protocol. So SM, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, Transport Protocol. And I added some SSL logs as well. So let's look at source type. And all of you should have the ability to look at all this because I put all this in main. So here's another one, SSL logs. All this is in the main index. All right, so what we'll do is also do our event count. Index equals star, summarize equals false, and then we're going to say where count is equals to 0. So you should see that your indexes are created now. So so now we're going to search Splunk, or not Splunk, with server equals star, because all we care about is looking at the server that's on the indexes on the indexer. So Abdullah, Ahmed, Elaine, Baraka, Claudette, Clovis, DK, Elvis, Ernest, let's see, Liz, Mercy, Patrick, Tolu, Hugo. Is there anybody's index that I'm missing?
Hey, I don't have an index, so.
No, Rich, I didn't create a new one for you. You should have plenty from last course. I didn't create like a new index for that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so yours has data, so that's why yours isn't showing here. Same thing with Rufus and Timmy. You guys all have indexes already, so I didn't, see a point of creating like another index for it.
Yeah, Prof, this is Clovis.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I tried like all these commands that you're running right now. I got the video, then I tried typing those commands. I mean, for whatever reason, it wasn't pulling out anything the way you are doing. So I was just wondering if it's the same server that I'm logging in, it's the same thing that you're doing, the same server that you're working on. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's do this. Do you know your password offhand?
No, I can look it up. I have it somewhere.
Okay, so we'll do this. I'm going to log out. And then I'm going to have you sign in. Let me pass you controls. Clovis, there you are. All right, Clovis, so now you have control. So put your username and password whenever you're ready.
Okay, just give me that. Let me put out from the notepad and save it on, please. Give me a minute.
No worries. Any questions so far? Anyone?
Okay, can you? Am I trying to maximize it? It's like the thing's minimized on my own end. I don't know if you want to maximize yours.
Sure. Oh, press to take control.
Say that again.
Yeah, press to take control of my screen.
Let me see.
Hmm?
I don't see where to say the
No, just press anywhere on the screen. There you go. Now you can show it. Yeah.
Okay. Oops. On my end, the screen is so minimized in such a way. I don't know why the thing is so minimized that way. Like to expand the screen, I don't know. The thing is so minimized.
Not sure. Is that better? Maybe I zoomed in.
You know what? Just continue. Maybe it's my retro one. Just continue. I think we'll figure it out, please. Just continue. Let me not hold on the class.
Sure. Okay. All right. So let's. So all of you should have indexes. If you don't, let me know. Run that event count search and look for indexes. You guys have all been mapped to like specific indexes as well. So as power users, I want you to see what a power user sees versus what an admin sees. So that's why I give you that right. So if you are an admin in your environment, your power users say, "Hey, I don't have access to do X, Y, and Z." You should automatically already know like why that's the reason. So, all right. So let's do this. So now we're going to look at some data sets. Who would like to take control first to run a search? Because I think last class was very interactive and you guys did well. Anyone? Mr. Ernest, are you there? Mr. Ugo, are you there?
Let me try.
Who's that?
Hello.
Oh, Elaine? Okay. All right, cool. So let me pass this. Elaine, you now have control. Let me know once you can control. Just click anywhere in the screen.
Yeah.
All right. So Elaine, do a search in index equals main. All right, run that. Okay. So we did a search in index equals main. We see one source type, but in my environment, I'm the customer. I say, hey, I know I have more source types in main index, but I only see one. What could be the issues?
Customer has.
Yeah. Customer says that they have a certain data in their index, but when they do a search, like you just did, they don't see any data. They don't see that specific data that they're looking for or that source type. What could be the issue?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question, sir?
Sure. Customer says, hey, I have data in my index equals main, but I do a search, but I don't see my data. What could be the issue?
Permission issue?
Okay. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by permission issue? Hmm? Who is that that said permission issue? What do you mean?
Elvis.
Okay. Yeah. What do you mean by permission issue, Elvis?
I'm guessing you don't. The permissions on that data needs to be changed. That came off horribly.
Permission on the data. So what do you mean? Like, so how do indexes work typically?
Index stores data.
Mm-hmm. So if a customer searches inside of an index and they get data,
Yeah.
does that mean that they have access to all the data in that index?
Yeah, they do have access. if they're able to run the search, yeah, they have access.
Okay. Does that mean they have access to all the data in the index?
Yeah.
So that's a tricky one. So Splunk typically does index based role-based access control, meaning that if you have access to index, you have access to everything in there. But there's a sort of like there's a sort of a glitch in the system that you can do, right? And I'm going to take control quickly just to show you guys that. So, and I wouldn't call it glitch. I think it's, purposefully set, but not many people utilize it. So it's search filters. So we will go in here, right? Settings, roles. So we're going to create a test user. We're going to call this user, let's go to our settings, users first. We're going to create a user. We're going to call this user test user, and password's going to be testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right, don't need to change a password, and we're going to say this guy has access to be a power, not a power user. He's going to be we're going to create a new role for this guy. We're going to say, actually, we're not going to give him any of these roles right now. We're just going to say you're going to save this. Well, he needs to have a role, actually. We'll use user test account. So we created a user called test user, and we're going to give him the role of test account user. So don't say password. So if we go to test account user, we see that this user has certain capabilities. They can do like these different things. So inheritance means that they inherit certain roles, and I created for each of you a specific role that's mapped to your index. So what that means is, if I were to add this, that means every index that Ahmed Galko can search is now belonging to this role right here. And as long as this role is assigned to any user, they get every index that Ahmed can search. Same thing with Claudette, same thing with Elizabeth. So as long as I add your role here, everything that this role can do now is inherited by whatever role you're assigning it to. In this case, I'm not assigning any role right now. So what I'm going to do is say this. I'm going to say, we're going to give this guy user rights, but then we're also going to restrict this guy. We're going to say this guy can only do certain things. So see index fields, generate field. So let's do this. Enter this field search query. So let's do index equals so search contain terms. Oh, for filter syntax on secure use. Okay. See. So let's do index equals main, and then let's do source type equals let's grab a source type here. Generic single line. That's right. See if let me just save this. All right. So we added that, and then now we go to our restrictions. So now this person's SPL search filter, they can only look at source type that's equals to generic search single line. So if this user has access to this index, they're only restricted to this specific source type. So even within the index itself, you can restrict them to say you can only do X, Y, and Z. Now, this is a taxing thing to do if you're doing a lot of this. That's why Splunk usually just recommends do it based upon what do you call it? Index restrictions. So you don't want to be doing this across the board because it becomes really difficult to maintain. Imagine you have certain people. It's like you have certain people in HR but certain people in HR can't see certain kinds of data. That's definitely a use case, right? Not everybody in HR needs to see everybody's salary and all that other stuff. It's only certain things that really matter. So you can restrict it that way. Same thing in security. You have certain people in security that only need to see X, Y, and Z kinds of data. So you can restrict it in here for them to only see certain source types, certain hosts, certain sources, certain event types, search fields, and you can do whatever. You can go crazy in here, and you can do and or operators and things like that.
Interesting.
And this, so this is what that person will be able to see. So they can only see essentially this when they run their search. They'll always populate just that stuff for them. So that's how that would work. Any questions about that?
So literally, even though the client or customer has access to the indexes, he or she can search any data unless he's been granted access to that particular data.
Yeah, if you restrict them. That's only if you restrict them. If you don't put any restrictions, they can do whatever they want in that index.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yep. All right, cool. So let's keep going. Okay, so
I have a question.
sure.
So typically you would create a user, the customer, and then you would grant them a specific role. Now, when on the job, do they tell you specifically what roles that customer is gonna have?
Yes, you should get that. You as an admin will never be asked to, determine that typically. Now they may ask you, like, in regards to Splunk's permissions and capabilities, they say, okay, what is power user? What can they do? Or what is, I have certain roles set up, indexes equals, or Liz underscore indexes. What does Liz underscore indexes allow Liz to do? What are her capabilities? What are the different things that she can search? So that would be your job as an admin then to reveal that, to say, okay, so this is what so-and-so can do.
Okay.
And based on that will make the job or your employers to say, okay, well, if that's the case, then maybe we shouldn't give, Liz or Claudette or Tolu or Timmy access to all this stuff. Maybe we should restrict them. And if they say, okay, that's the case, what you'll do then is create a separate role for those people, and you restrict them based upon the search filters that you give them. The other thing I forgot to mention is search filters supersede search, what do you call it? So search filters supersede like role capabilities, right? So just because you have a role to do X, Y, and Z, if you're restricted within your search filters, it basically looks at that and trumps whatever access you have. So it's basically blacklist supersedes whitelist. So if you say you can do this, but then you have another rule that says you can't do this, you're not going to be able to do that. So your blacklist supersedes your whitelisting. Hope that makes sense. So if I tell you you can search index equals main, then in the filter I says you cannot search index equals main, you're not going to be able to search index equals main. Your filters are going to block you for that. So you got to be careful about your filters because those can really mess you up.
So you can only do that based on if you've been instructed to.
No, you can do it whenever. I mean, if it makes sense in the use case. So, if your environment says, hey, there's certain people that can't look at these certain IPs and the data that belongs to these IPs, then you just have to say that the user cannot look at what I would do in that case then. So going back to this right here, right? So what I would do in this scenario then is if my job tells me I have certain users that cannot look at certain IPs. So what I would do then is say, okay, in the restrictions, I would create them. So before I even do that, I would do, let's do Sierra Leone. Index equals main, and then let's do Sierra Leone. So then this is going to look for all Sierra Leone data, right? So anything that has Sierra Leone data. So what I'll do then is create an event type for this, or I'll create a tag for it, and then I'll call it, serially owned data, whatever it is I call it. So then based on that, I would go inside to my roles then, and then say event type does not equals to serial. So now in this case, now the user cannot search anything that has serial owned data. They're basically blacklisted from looking at this event type. Same thing with tags. You can always, put the IPs directly in here and just say, not, 8.8, 8.8.8.8, not. I mean, you can do that a bunch of times, but the easiest way to do something like that is basically group it all together. And then from there, say, you can't search this group. So that's what you're doing here. You're creating an event type that says now serially owned is an event type. Now, whoever wants to search for serial owned event type, if in their blacklist filters, their search filters, we say you can't look at that, then you're not going to be able to look at that. So instead of me literally typing it out, and I could do that also, I could do basically just put serially owned in here. But let's say there are events that maybe in relation to serially owned that don't necessarily have to do with COVID-19, whatever, or patient data about COVID-19. Then I would have to create something that's more specific just the COVID-19 data. So in this case, I probably would do something like, COVID-19 to make sure that, so-and-so is not looking at stuff that is not relevant to, stuff that they should be looking at, and then just grab just that information. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay. All right. So, Clovis, take control again.
Aaron?
All right, cool. All right, so going back to my question, we have data that customer says they're sure they put their data in here. And just let's say hypothetical, customer has all access. There's no restrictions or nothing like that to the index. They have all access to the data in here. What could be the issues why they're not seeing the data that they're looking for? What are some things? Just like think common sense wise before we go like really deep technical. Anybody?
Can we check if the folders are... can we check if the folders are connected to the receiver?
Yep, that's a good one. So you check. All right, so let's say the forward is connected and we see that data is getting sent to the indexers. What's the next thing you would do there? Anyone?
Run a search index, starts count by host.
Okay. Let's say you see that host is reporting, but you don't see that specific source or source type that the person is looking for. What are some things we can try right now? So right now we see one source type, right?
You do source type equals wildcard.
Okay. We only see one source type. Why?
The time thing.
There we go. Time range.
Time range.
There we go. All right, so now we see multiple source type. We see 9. But the customer says, I'm sure, man, I have more than 9 source types in here. Maybe the data is like really, really far back. What would be the best way to search for that data?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say all time, but
Okay.
So you do, you literally do all time?
you might do all time to filter out the timestamp issues.
Okay. So I, in our environment, maybe, but in an environment where you have 60 billion events, I wouldn't recommend doing
Oh,
that.
no, you wouldn't do that. No,
Right.
you wouldn't do that.
So what would you do if you had an environment like that? Think about it that way.
What was the question again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
So in your environment, you have over 257 billion events in one index, and you're trying to figure out all the source types that are ever reported to that index. What would you do?
I'll do a stats count by source type.
Okay. So there's only 9 source types, just like we saw before. Are these all the source types that ever reported to this index?
You can do metadata, right?
What do you mean?
Search metadata.
Mhm.
No, you gotta delete everything.
Delete everything. All right.
So metadata space type
Mhm.
equals source types, I think. And index equals star. Yeah, you can run that and see. Oh, that just gives us all the source types on the server.
Okay. So are all these source types in my main index?
Oh, you can put the actual, how you call it, index, the actual index you're looking for
Okay. Main.
right there.
There we go. All right. So it says in the last 7 days we've had 11 source types. Is that what we want to run? What are we trying to achieve?
You try and get all the source types, right?
Yep. So how would we run this?
So on the time range picker, so you got to change the time.
To what?
All time.
All right. There we go. Okay. So I ran all time, and it took how long? 0.0149 seconds. Now, if I ran this.
So I have a question, quick question.
Sure.
So if you use all time on here, it's not resource incentive, right?
So let's do that. So we're doing that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this took 9 seconds, and it only ran through 197 or 195,000 events. Imagine you have 60 billion. That's going to take a really long time. Even if you do stats count by source type and all that, it's still going to take a really long time. So that's why you would, and then look at the one that we ran earlier before. This one that took what? Less than a second to run. There's a huge cost difference in terms of like execution cost. So you want to try to be as efficient as possible. There's searches that are efficient, and then there's just bad searching. Just because you can do index equals, main or index equals star all time doesn't mean you should do that. Don't do that. Find different ways to make your search more effective, and find how to make your processing more effective. Right now, it's only a few of us users that actually use Splunk very often. If all of you decided to run index equals star, and then you all ran it all time, real time, and everybody's running, my server's probably gonna crash. It's like I can't handle this. I don't know what you guys think this is, but this is crazy.
So you're saying
now you have
to always run on all time, right?
say again.
So you basically say it's not advisable to always run your search on all time.
Yeah, it's never advisable to do that when you're doing raw search. So this is what's called a raw search. When you strip something and you're looking at the raw data. So when you do something like this, it looks at just the raw data itself. So it says, hey, the data that I got from SARS computer, I want to see that data in its raw form that it came in. So that's what this does when it does that. When you look at something like this looks at the metadata. So this looks at the tagging that happens. So as your data comes through, Splunk is tagging. It says this is a source type, this is a host, this is an index, this is a Splunk underscore server, this is a source, this is the underscore time, this is the IP. It tags it, and based upon you having these tags inside of either your data model or you have it as part of like your underscore, like your default fields that Splunk extracts, would determine the execution costs behind it. You can add more stuff into your ability to search like your metadata faster. But the only thing is, you're going to slow down Splunk's processing speed. So by default, Splunk only saves a few parameters. It saves like source type, index, underscore time, the Splunk underscore server, like maybe a punctuation. It saves just those basic fields, event types that it needs. But then after that, it basically starts, post-processing that stuff to say, hey, this is stuff that we care about later. We're going to start extracting that at a later time frame. But initially, it just grabs just the things that it needs to grab initially, puts that aside. So whenever you do a search against these important things, not this, but when you do a search against like source types or the index or the source, host, things like that, Splunk is like, okay, I know this. This is something I've already calculated and I've already been optimized to be able to build around. Any questions about that?
Question: would a T-stats would that be effective?
Yeah, so T-stats will be effective in here as well. So T-stats is basically a search where it uses your TSIDX files, which are essentially just your metadata that's been tagged and it's been saved for you inside of a special place to be able to get data from you. So if we're to do T-stats, it'll be T-stats. It depends on what you want. You can do count, you can do values, you can do distinct count, average, sum. You can do a whole bunch of stuff that you want in here. So we'll do T-stats count. We're going to say where. And then what we're going to do is say index equals main. Then we're going to say do it by our source type. So we want to see all of our source types that have been in index equals main. Then we run this all time. And you see we get the same thing. And then now let's check the execution cost for this. 0.228 seconds. So this is slightly slower than metadata, but it's still very, very effective. So T-stats, if you're looking at source types, hosts, things like that, T-stats is the best way to go. It's really simple stuff. Look at host by index. Don't do index equals main. Don't do index equals star. You're just wasting your time and you're dampening your system. T-stats metadata is the fastest way to get your metadata in relation to your index, your source type, your source, and stuff like that. So in here, you can do additional additions here. And we can see the source type, the source, index, and then of course, we said we wanted a count. And then now we see the count here. Any questions about that so far? All right. And then what we can also add in here is underscore time. So then it'll give us like the underscore time of when things are happening. So you need the underscore time whenever you're transforming something into a time chart view. So right now it's basically doing like a single count of everything. But what we want to do is say time chart sum, What we want to sum is the count as total count by source type. All right. So then now it gives us the sum of total count of our data by the source types and whenever it happened. So this is what we see here. So this is all time, you know, from historic time. We want to see how our data looks. So it looks like I started collecting the Sierra Leone data first, starting April 1st, 2020, and it's been collecting that since. And whenever you see this other field, that means there's a bunch of other things there, but they're so small that Splunk says this is not important. But you may find it important. So what you'll do then is use that limit function that you guys saw earlier. And when you do limit equals 0, it's going to basically give you all the events. So it's going to take away that other. The other option you can also use is use other equals false. And then also get rid of that other flag that you see there. Another thing that would sometimes come up is null. So let's do a search where we are going to get data. So let's do star. And let's run this, right? And the search is going to take a little bit longer. So then we see no, we see other. I guess no is not going to show up in here. It may, but we'll see. But yeah, you see it's building up over all time to see all the data that we've gotten. This is a pretty, you know, extensive search right here because it's going to look through everything. Let's say, but you see how fast it's still running compared to if you try to do index equals star all time of everything. That's horrible. You know, you never want to do something like that. So we're going to stop this and then we're going to say limit equals 0, or we can do the use other flag. Then you'll see that's going to generate everything that we want. Oh crap, no. There's a function. Oh, there it is. It just took a while. I think it's the use null one where you have to, I think, specify that. See, but this one's, it's going to give me, what do you call it? It's going to give me a JavaScript error. It's going to say that, hey, you have too much stuff loading on your, you know, page right now. You're crazy. So all of this is resource intensive. That's why you see the screen sometimes blank in and out because it's like, hey, dude, you're loading up just a lot of resources here. So typically you never want to do this. So I'm just going to stop this. And whenever you see that, that means your system is loading up a lot of stuff in the page that you're using, is rendering a lot of data and a lot of resources that it can't accumulate for. So that's why you typically want to restrict what you're looking for. So any questions about that?
What if you wanted to see the data by, say, volume, by the number of, say, bytes?
Bytes, okay, good question. So you can't see that with T-stats unless you have your internal fields indexed. So when I mean index in terms of inside of a data model. So for instance, if you were to do, let's go back to T-stats count where index equals, let's do main, right? We run this. So what this gives you is a count, but this count means nothing. This is not saying that one count is 1 byte. That one count of event could be like a really big byte size, right? So it doesn't tell you that accurately. So you can't use that here. So what you'll need to do then is use your internal logs to find that. And unfortunately, your internal logs are not by default summarized inside of a T-stats for you. So you have to create a data model to grab that. So let's say we do index equals underscore internal, and then we do source equals star metrics star. And then let's run this by, let's say the last 60 minutes, right? Oh, internal. If I can spell. So now you see you have your bytes over here. Kilobytes here. Then now what you can do then is basically summate that. So where's our bytes at? So we have our bytes here, and then you can see our different byte sizes. So then you say, I want to see the byte size for, I don't know, let's look for a specific source type, right? So this guy, where you at? Series, where you at? let's do this. I think I have to look at license usage actually. So this one's just metrics. I think I have to look at the license usage. Let's do license star. And we should see bytes in here as well. So here we go. Yep, this is the one. So in here, we should have bytes somewhere in here. It should tell us. So you see bytes as in B. So this is just a regular byte, like, you know, is it BIT? Yeah, I think it's just the BIT one. Then you got to do the BYT bytes. So if you understand like the, you know, the number increments, this is sort of how it works in here. So we'll do, so if we want to do a byte, so we'll do, let's do time chart, some bytes, is bytes by, which one is bytes by, and in this scenario right here, your S is your source, I believe, and then your ST is your source type. So S right here is the source itself. ST is your source type. So let's say we want to see the number of bytes by our source type. So then it'll be ST. Then run that. So then it does a summation of the bytes. Then you can now look at it in more of a better format. So then you can look at it and say, okay, at 931, I got 3,367 bytes. And I think you got to divide this by 1024 to be actual bytes itself. Okay, so it's like some bytes. Actually, I'm sorry. We got to evaluate that first. So eval b bytes equals bytes divided by 1024. Then we're going to do bytes here. So what we're saying is the bytes, we're going to divide that number by 1024 to get our bytes. And then now we're going to do a summation of that to see the number of bytes that we get. Then the number is going to be, it should be really, really small. So you can see here it's like 19 versus the 3,000 that we saw earlier. So we got 3 bytes from the coronavirus. There's really small bytes that we're getting. And then we have 16 bytes here. We have 19 bytes here. So it's really small. If you maybe did it for a longer range, you might be able to get something that's, you know, maybe a little more appealing. Oh, here's our null. So this is the other one that you'll see. Null and other. So now you can see we have our SSL logs, put 19, what was it, 19,006, what is that? Is that, I think that's with like 9, or yeah, I think that's 19 megs. I think that uploaded here. So yeah, that should be like 19 megs. And this should be a total, grand total of 25 megs. So then what we can do then is say use other equals false, and use null, same thing, equals false. And then it should get rid of those things that you see over here. So now it gives us the actual events based on each and every one of them. So you can see here now, AWS description log, coronavirus, and then I put in some other stuff. We got stream DNS stuff coming in here. So that's how you would get your actual volume. So if you ever get asked, you know, what's the volume of data that we're getting in, your internal logs would have your volume. And then you look at the license usage to calculate that volume.
Okay. Well, another side question: as you as an admin, are you ever concerned with the size of your, how much space usage you have?
Yeah. So that's going to be one of your biggest worries. It's you look at a screen, and we're kind of getting off topic here, but there's a license usage. So you can look like settings, licensing, and then your licensing tab. You can look at your usage report. Then your usage report will basically tell you how you're doing on licensing. You know, this is your quota. This is the amount used. So it's the amount I'm using so minute, really. Then it can tell previous 30 days how you've been doing. So this is I use 1.58. That's the most I use, but for the most part, I really don't bring in much data, for these 2 gigs. So I need to actually probably start using this a lot more. So yeah, this is what it, this is what it looks like. So July 16th. So, okay. So you see here, I bought in 1.58 on that day. So I'm wondering about something. So that's the 16th though. Actually, let's go back 30 days and see what happened on the 16th. Let's see what I brought in on the 16th that's giving me that spike. Because it's saying on the 16th, I believe. So yeah, July 16th. All right, so here it is. This is, okay, so the squid proxy stuff, that's what it was. It took up so much space. Okay. All right, any questions? Again, this is the screen that you'll come at to look at your licensing. You can split this by the indexer itself, split it by the source type, the different hosts, sources, index, and whatnot to see what's actually causing issues. And then you can turn acceleration on for this report because that's probably something. Let's accelerate that. Let's do a month. Accelerate that report anyway. I use it pretty often. All right. Okay. All right. So we got that. Let's now go back to the question. So we know that we can use metadata to look past, whatever we want to look past. So now I want to look at, and let me grab somebody else. Thank you, Elaine. I'm going to pass this on now to Mr. Ernest. Are you ready now?
Yeah.
So Mr. Ernest, I just passed you control. Let me hide this floating thing. So Mr. Ernest, click anywhere in the screen to take control. All right, good. All right, so now do index equals main and do a search for any source type that has the name stream inside of it. And somebody can help them out if he needs help. So you're doing a search inside of index equals main. And any source type that has the name stream inside of it.
So while he's running that, why did you do index equals underscore internal rather than index equals internal? Why did you use that underscore?
Why didn't I do internal versus underscore internal?
Index equals internal instead of, you did index equals underscore internal.
There's no internal. There's only underscore internal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is
In
that
all your
anything
environments.
stream or what did you say, stream or SSL?
Stream. So the name has to have stream in it. There we go. Good stuff. Dang, you cheated, man.
It was right there.
All right, cool. Let's do this for the last 7 days. All right, so we got some stream data here. All right, so let's see. Let's see what we can grab from here that would be interesting. All right, so we got URI path. Okay, we got a source IP in here, 1010. All right, so do a drop down on one of these screens, of these events rather. It's to the left right there, next to the arrow. Yeah, let's do a drop down. All right, let's scroll down. Let's look at what extractions we got going on here. So we got protocol, we got the source IP, which looks like it's essentially the same thing. So let's do this. We're going to click next to source. Not that one, I'm sorry, the SRC source.
SRC.
at the bottom. Yep. And drop down right there. Yep. And then what we're gonna do is do a search where you find any IP that starts with 10.10. So include that in your search at the top. Any source IP that starts with 10.10.
10.10. Mm.
Anybody want to help him out?
What is it doing?
He's looking for any IP that starts with 10.10. That's a source IP.
The name of the field is source IP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to ask.
Source underscore IP.
Yep, that's the name of it. Yep.
I think he's on the right path. So just do backspace on that. And then do 2 quotes, and then you're gonna put the IP in there.
You said under 10, right?
10.10 star. Thing. No, 10.10 dot and then star. I think that's it. Run that and see. What's the time frame that you want to run it for?
Let's do. I think I only ingested it during this time frame. This is okay.
7
All
days.
right.
Okay.
All right, cool. So let's check to make sure that it grabbed what we're looking for. So look on that field. All right, perfect. So all IPs are 10.10s are good. So we're good here. All right, cool. So let's put this inside of a lookup. Let's table it and put it inside of a lookup. And then you're gonna call the name of the field. Call it, so rename, so first table this, table the source IPs. And then you're gonna rename it to be called malicious IPs. You can do underscore. Oh yeah, that's fine. All right. So before we do that, notice that we have some duplicates, right? You see there's 10, 10, 123, like a bunch of times. Yeah, so you can dedupe early or dedupe later. Typically you want to dedupe earlier so that you can filter down the results as you're doing like a lot of your post calculations.
Oh,
no worries. So dedupe, for anyone that doesn't know, it does a deduplication. So it basically unduplicates a specific field that you mentioned in there. So in this case, we're looking at just these 6 IPs, we don't want to see every time that event occurs. We only want to see based on the distinct count of these IPs. Yeah, he could have did a stats distinct count as well to get the same results, but we'll do it this way for you guys to see. All right, so so now we're gonna put this into a lookup called malicious underscore lookup dot CSV. So how would you put into lookup? Anybody help him out?
The lookup table is already in there.
No. So you have to create that as well. It's going to be malicious underscore IP dot CSV.
We don't have it yet.
Do it from this. You can do it from the search.
Do it from the search. Oh yeah.
Click the back button.
The back button.
That's the top. Let me help you out. It might be hidden up there. Yeah, there you go.
Like that?
Yep. Keep going back. At least so you can just do it from your search this way.
No, it's output lookup.
Malicious.
Yeah, if you look down at the command history, it shows you some of the examples.
Yeah, what did you say? Malicious what? No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Malicious underscore IP. That's CSV.
Yeah, if you look at the if you erase that, then you can see the examples. The command history kind of shows you create empty.
Right here.
Yeah, that's the flag you have to create a new lookup table. Create empty underscore empty equals true before you enter in the malicious. Create underscore empty equals true.
Malicious underscore source IPs.
Yeah, you can do malicious underscore IPs dot CSV. All right. All right. So let's check. How do we double check to see that your lookup is working?
Let me create a duplicate.
Yeah, you had it right. If you right click on the search and create new tab or open a new tab. No, search at the top there, yeah. And then open link in new tab, the first one. Is that it right next to it?
I don't see it.
It's right here. It's right. I'm just gonna, might be hidden. There you go.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we got our lookup. So now we know what the malicious IPs are, right? So now, just imagine your environment. Customer says, hey, we got some bad guys at, oh, actually, hold up. Something's wrong here.
Yeah, I was
By
gonna say,
the way,
wasn't
I'm
it supposed to be
29.
6?
Yeah, some other ones came up.
Yeah, what the heck was going on here?
Can you go back to the other tab of the yeah, that first tab?
Yeah, what the heck? All right, so take away the create empty equals true. Not the whole thing, just the create empty part. All right, rerun that. All right, and then go to your search on the right hand. Yeah, rerun this. There we go. I don't know what the heck that happened there, but that's weird. Somebody didn't hack this. Or somebody might have been putting something in there.
So yeah, I was gonna. So with that create empty, was the argument? Does that if there's well, no, this is a brand new one, so I don't know how understand how that would work then. What was the difference between having the remove and create empty compared to?
So the create empty is only if the CSV doesn't exist. So since we already created the malicious IP CSV, we didn't need that flag anymore.
Okay,
He
I
could have
didn't know
left
it
it
was
there, but
okay.
it's just we didn't need it anymore.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing I was going to also add is it doesn't matter where in the syntax where it falls. So you can put it back here if you wanted. It'll do the same thing. And you also have this one, which I actually don't even use much often, but you can create in the app if you want to create it just specifically in this app. I think I don't know what false actually sends it to, but anyway. All right. So we have our malicious IPs, right? So then let me see. Let me have somebody else drive. Thank you very much, Mr. Hugo. I'm gonna have someone else drive to sort of. Anybody want to volunteer? Or should I just pick anyone? Looks like I pick Mercy. Are you there? Looks like you've been active pretty much. So let's get you to go. Test, Mercy. You there? All right, Liz, are you there? Liz or Mercy? Check. 1 2 1 2.
I'm here, but I
Okay.
can't guarantee anything.
No, that's fine. This is all about learning and growing. So, all right. So, Liz, you are now the author. Okay. All right. So, Liz, click anywhere in the screen to take control. All right, cool. So, Liz, we now have malicious IPs in our environment. Well, not in our environment. We have malicious IP lookup in our environment. Let's say hypothetically we have a threat intel database that we query that gives us a list of, IPs in a sort of like an Excel file. Think about it that way. That tells us a bunch of different bad guys that we don't want in our environment. So we know they all start with 1010s. So what we want to do then is check in our environment to see if those IPs exist in our environment. Then what we want to do then is say these guys are malicious, and then these guys should not be trusted, and these guys are bad guys. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to search all of our data in that uses our stream source type. So take out the filter where you see source _ IP equals 1010. You're going to take that out and just say we want to search all IPs.
Source underscore IP.
Yeah, yep, yep. So we want to search all IPs instead of just the 1010s.
Okay, we're gonna do a star.
All right, cool. All right, so now let's run that. Oh shoot, darn it. Forgot to take off the output lookup. Do Control Z inside of here. So press inside there.
Control Z on my keyboard.
Yeah, I'll do it quickly. So we're just gonna go back to 1010. We still have this output lookup, so it's gonna replace our lookup file. We don't want to do that. That was my fault. So we're just gonna do this again quickly, and then now it's overwritten it. So then what we'll do then is just do what you wanted here. Then we're going to delete that. All right. So then we're not going to do the rename, whatever. We're just going to say, all right, right now we just want to see all the IPs in our environment. So now we want to say, hey, these are IPs in our environment. We want to compare this to the list of bad lookups or the bad malicious IPs we have. And we want to output that to our table now. So there's a list of 20 IPs that we see here, because when you look at the statistics number there, you see 20. There's 20 IPs, unique IPs that we have. We want to know if these IPs are bad. So what you'll do is use your lookup to do that comparison. Does anybody want to start off by helping her? I think Richard and Rufus, you guys had posted something. So let's try that solution that you had posted. And you can start from the lookup piece.
Okay. How do I tap down to the next? Shift enter.
Control enter, or shift enter. Shift enter.
Okay. I
No. So we want to do a lookup of the IPs and do a comparison.
Yeah. So if you do lookup, it's a lookup there, and then the name of the lookup.
IP.
Was it malicious?
Yeah,
What was the name of that?
malicious underscore IPs.
Yeah. And then you want to is the field is source IP, right? Or what was the name of the field that had the IPs? Was it malicious IPs?
Go to the other tab, Liz.
Okay.
Tab to the top right.
Here.
No, the other tab, the top there.
This.
No. So this right here is the tab. So this right at the top.
Okay.
So right now you're on the first tab. Go to the second tab at the top. So right now you're on this tab right here, this one. I want you to go to this one. This is the second tab.
Oh, okay.
right, so there it is.
Okay, so you can go back to the other tab now, and so enter in that field name malicious underscore IP with a capital M. No. Keep what you just had, but the field name is also called malicious IPs.
So
So you're going to enter that again for that field.
am I doing a field equals a field name?
No, just capital M. So if you go back to the other tab again, you'll see what the. So you see here, the over top of the list there, the field is called malicious IP. So you're pretty much, you can copy and paste that if you want. Underneath, you see where the actual table is on the bottom there, the results. So that is the actual field right there.
If I right click to copy, I'll just type in.
And as source IP. No, the field src underscore IP. Then capital output.
Hey, Rufus,
Huh?
I think you need a .csv for the malicious underscore IP.
Is that, yeah, what?
So after lookup malicious underscore IP .csv, and then you can do the malicious, the first one.
Was a lowercase CSV there. So sorry, is there the field alias? I mean, I'm sorry, the lookup definition. If that is entered in, then you wouldn't need that .csv.
So I guess let me take control quickly. So the syntax is like this. So you're going to do lookup command, and then it's going to be the lookup name, the name of the lookup itself you're looking for. And then it's going to be the field that's in your current events as what you're comparing it to in your field in your lookup. And then you're going to output whatever you want field wise, so whatever field you want. So again, it's going to be your lookup, the lookup name, and then you're going to do the current field that you're looking at. You're going to look it up as whatever field within your lookup you want. Then you're going to output whatever it is that you want to output from that lookup. And then you can do it as a different name if you want. So in this case, it would be malicious, since malicious is capital. Then we have IPs with the S here. And then we're going to say, we want to look up, no, I'm sorry. It's the other way. I always forget that. It's the source underscore IP, I think is the one first within your regular field or your events in your lookup table. So I think it's that first. No, that second rather, and then malicious. It'll tell me anyway. Malicious underscore IP output. MALICI underscore IP, right? Okay, so let's see if this works. And it looks like, all right, so yeah, it looks like I was right initially. It is the other way around. So what did I just do? There we go. All right. Okay, so what we are doing is saying the malicious IP, so it's lookup, the name of the lookup you want. Malicious IP is the name of the field that's within my lookup as whatever field we already currently have in our regular data sets. So this is a statistics table right now, but it didn't have to be one. But we're saying we're going to look up this field in here as this field that we want here. Then we're going to output whatever we want from this table. So if there was a different thing in here, so let's say for instance we'll do let's do a change quickly. So we'll do let's keep this info lookup and let's do eval test equals test. So then we can do output that and then do something like this. Why not? Oh, that's because I didn't output that back up to the lookup. That's why. Output back up to this guy right here. So what we're doing is just adding a new field to this guy. And now this guy should be able to recognize that. So then it grabs that and it grabs this new field that we've just added. So that's all we did here. We just added a new field in here called test. So you can do as many of whatever it is like that you want. So, you know, we can do that. Then we can do test equals testing equals 2. So then now you can do test 2. Field was testing, sorry. So then now you can output as much as you want. You can, as long as this matches the field that it's looking for 1-to-1, and then the values match, is going to output whatever it is that's beside it. So as long as this matches whatever results that you have in your events, it's going to output the rest of it. So in this case, all we care about is malicious IP. But let's say there was a username, there was like a user's desktop, in this case, let's say, testing equals laptop, 32, testing 2 equals, Bowie, Maryland. So we run something like that. So then now we run this. Now we can see, this is the user's laptop that has that connected to that malicious IP. Now we've identified the user's laptop, whether it's the user's email address, user's address itself. We know where that user exists. We can then contact that user. Say, hey, bro, you're contacting a malicious IP. What's going on? Are you like a insider guy, or did you just get infected and you didn't know about it? So that's an example of how you would use this. And then now what you can do then is basically filter off of what you would want to filter off of. So in this case, you can do. Let me see. What was the example that you guys gave? Where's that, Rufus? Sorry, that is the one you gave. Okay, so Rufus, you were doing this, so we'll add this to it. So you're basically saying this. So you're looking at malicious IP, which is the field, but then you're saying you want to compare it to bad IPs. The only thing about that is you'll have to put, either or statements. So you're going to be like, or, which IP equals, whatever, or. So you'll do it that way. That would be pretty difficult. I think that would
A
be
long
difficult.
way.
Yeah,
Right.
long way. Yeah, so I would just do a star there. And then that way, it only going to grab stuff that has malicious IP in it. And that way, it's only grabbing the malicious stuff in it. So now it grabs that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, if you wanted to do the values, then you can say, okay, I want to see all the malicious IPs in my environment. Then you can just, like you were doing here, by source IP. So then what we're doing now is saying we want to see all the values for the source IP. So in this case, it's only, it's 1-to-1. But if there's more, if this guy was reaching out to like, 10,000 different IPs, then yeah, we would be able to capture and say, hey, this guy's doing some really weird stuff. I'm not sure why. Does that make sense, guys? Any questions?
Yeah, Prof.
Sure.
Clovis again. I don't know. Maybe it's that I'm missing the notes. Is there a way that you can make a notes for this thing and tell us that if you want to do like the way you're doing it, like notes which you can follow with explanation, please?
Oh, gotcha. I'll be honest, I'm not that advanced in my tutorial outside of the videos, but I think what was the best way.
Yeah, just like I know, not even really deep notes, like a summary of each of these command that you are running. Not detailed notes, like say, hey, look for this command is for this command is for this, hey, like that. Just summary,
Yeah.
Not really details.
Okay. So I can do that, but it will have to be after the Wednesday's course. It'll be like a recap.
No problem.
Because trying to do that in between and then get prepared for Wednesday, it's a bit tight.
Yeah, I understand.
So I can do that after Wednesday's course, and I'll send it out by Friday for you guys with like the what do you call it, with homework and all that other jazz. That way you guys have that as well. And speaking of which, did anyone actually do the homework from last class? Because that's been something that I haven't really seen a lot of people do.
I tried it. I don't think I did a good job, but
I will pass it to
Ruth. I didn't do the lookup.
The lookup piece? Okay. Before we actually...
Hey, so I got a quick question.
Sure.
Will the... Sorry about the noise in the background, but will the other command work, the where and the table? Will it work here, or that's not advisable?
The where. So you're talking about doing like a where this way?
If you go back to the WhatsApp chat, Richard had put in a.
See, so where?
Yeah.
So yes, if you're comparing like a again, you're doing it the long way, just like Rufus was doing. So you're doing where IP equals this, but then you're only comparing it to one IP, but you have multiple IPs. How would you do that? The only way I would see that is you doing like a bunch of or statements. Or IP equals, bad IP1, or IP equals bad IP2, or IP equals bad. So it'll be the long way. It's not that it's not gonna work. It'll just be long. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that can work. It's just that. So that brings up a good point, right? So the difference between where and search. So where is usually used to do comparisons between operators. So like if something is equal to something, if something's less than, if something's greater than, that's where you use it for. Search is more so to say if this exists inside of this. If R exists inside of Rufus, then give me what I want. If E exists inside of Timmy, give me what I want. If user's last name ends with star.hr, and starts with an S, then give me what I want. If you do a where, that's not going to work. Where doesn't work like that. Where only works like you're doing like comparisons between, if this is less than, greater than, if this is equal to. That's what the where is used for. And where is more, it's usually more faster, it's more optimized when you're using it in that regard. So if an IP equals to something, if it's less than something, that's the best use case for where. The search is like you're trying to do something where search can do what where can do, and it can do a lot more, but it's just that it's not as what's the word? It's not as optimized to look at comparisons as where is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So again, just to make sure clarity. So if we do malicious IP equals 0, or you can do or, whatever.
Yeah, if I'm doing a mambo.
Huh? Equals 10.
No, I thought you were taking him down there.
Liz, I think you're talking.
I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. All right, so you can do something like this, and that's one way to do it, right? But it's not the best way to use your where commands typically, but that's a way you can use it. So if you try to do where IP equals 10 star, you'll see. So let's actually keep that. And then let's keep, okay. Then we run that. Then you see, let's do star. So you see where it's complaining for you because you're using like a wildcard with the where. It's not really functionally like, I want to say appropriate, but it's not functioning the way that the command it's meant to be. So you should do something more like a search where that equals that, and then it'll give you what you're looking for. So again, it's there's a big difference in terms of like the command output and what the search is actually doing versus you running like your own thing. Hopefully that example sort of makes sense a bit more.
Yeah.
All right, so we went over lookup and using the lookup to be able to find when you have malicious hosts, and this could be anything. You can say if my users exist inside of my lookup, and I was working with, I think, Clovis, or I was working with somebody today. Was it Clovis or Elvis? Who was I working with? I was working with someone today to assist them when they were trying to find something. So they were basically, I think, looking for like a user that's, if this account exists in our lookup, then we're good. If it doesn't exist, this is a known account, and we need to do some more research around it. So that's another use case. There's plenty out there. It just depends on what you're trying to do with the lookup command, and trying to find data that doesn't belong where it should. All right, so we've done that, and it's 10:46, so I'm gonna let you guys go 11. So let me try to finish up a few things. Let's do this. Let's have everybody send data. We'll end it on this note. Let me have one person share their screen. And actually, before I do that, let me show you guys what I'm gonna do, because this is something that you may or may not care about. But in AWS, many of you know how to do this, but for those that don't, I'm going to, which I'm just going to log in under yours, is much faster. It's lazy. So I have multi-factor on mine. So what I'm going to do is go to my EC2, and I'm going to go to my security groups over here. And I'm going to allow all of you guys to send data to me. Let's do, which one am I using? Let's do my search head one here. So I'm gonna allow, it looks like I already allow all inbound anyway. So, all right, so it looks like you guys are good. Let me double check to see what instance is using this. All right, search head, so that's the one. So when I double, oh, nope. All right, cool. That's because I'm in a different daggone zone. That's why because I knew that looked weird. So let's go find that guy. There we go. Search heads. So this is the guy we want. What is our? So we allow everything inbound. Everything in here. 443. Everything inbound. So I'm gonna allow everything to come in via 9997. So what I'll do I have 9997 here a couple times? So in here. So I'm going to add this rule now, save this. So now all of you guys should be able to send your data to me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. Who wants to quickly create or install a forwarder, not a forwarder, but install a Splunk instance locally on your laptop to send data to me? Anyone? I can walk you through it.
I'll do it.
All right, who's I?
It's Tola.
Okay, cool. All right, so share your screen, Tolu. Let me give you privileges to do that actually before I say that. Where are you? All right, cool. All right, Tolu. I told you now have the rights to share your screen. All right, cool. All right. So let's go install Splunk. Told you not to install Splunk locally, right?
No.
So go to splunk.com. All right. You have to create a Splunk account if you don't have one. Told you remember your Splunk account?
Let's see.
And looks like you have, yeah, yours is going to be easy. So. Nice. All right, cool. So then hit the free Splunk at the top right. Let me see this thing with freaking Chrome. I don't know what's wrong with Splunk and Chrome, man. Do you have another? Do you have IE on here? You may be able to bypass it. It's so annoying.
Yeah, let me use marker. Let me use another.
Okay, looks like you have IE. Yeah, I usually use Firefox because Chrome sometimes, man, I'm tripping. Especially with Splunk too.
How do I do this? So I'm using two screens. So I think I have to unshare and then come back.
Sure.
Quick question, sir.
Yeah.
Which browser is best, Firefox or Chrome?
I'm a Firefox guy, but you know, it just depends on like what you're using it for. Firefox, I think, is more maintained than Chrome is, but I think Chrome has like some added features that Firefox doesn't, and it's supposedly faster, but I don't know. I still think Firefox is just as good. But, yeah. I would, if I were you, I would just have both Firefox and Chrome.
Yeah, I have both, but I mainly use the Chrome.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and the other thing with Firefox is they enforce HSTS, which is basically, where if my certificate's not trusted, or if you have a site that has a certificate that's not trusted, it would basically say we're not going to allow you to go here for your own protection for whatever reason.
Right.
There's ways you can bypass that, but it's a silly thing that they do, but Chrome doesn't enforce that. All right, so click the one right there, Splunk Enterprise. Yeah, you can close that. It's at the bottom left right there. 60-day trial, yeah, that's fine. All right. So I'm assuming this is what, like a Windows 2016 or something like that, or 19.
I think it's 19.
All right, so let's grab that 64-bit. And then once it's finished downloading, save and run it. And then open up another tab totally and go to log into prod OpenPath.
Can you
Yeah, prod OpenPath us.com. Do cancel and then do HTTPS. Okay. Then advanced, bottom, accept and risk and continue. All right, then log in. All right, so check the name of your indexes that you have in here too. I forgot the name that you have.
I think it's
How would you search for your index? It's like one of my favorite searches to do.
we did earlier.
Nope. Anyone want to help him? It's the best way to search index. All you get an environment to say we want to see all the indexes with all the data. Yep, there you go.
You think
So not that. So event count and then delete the equals. Then space index equals whatever index you want. So you can probably do Tolu star around it to see. Do a star around Tolu. All the way around it. So whether it's beginning or end. And then do summarize equals false after it. Because right now, if you did it without it, it's going to give you just the count of events. All right, so these are the 3 indexes or 2 indexes you have. So you have Tolu test and Tolu OpenPath index. So you can send it to either one of these. It's up to you. All right, so going in onto your installation there.
Is it
It should be downloaded.
Okay.
Click that at the top right. The download thing. Yeah, there you go. Click that folder. There you go. And is it running on another screen, maybe?
Yeah.
You mind sharing that screen when you get a chance?
Why does it want me to install something?
Yeah. So you're gonna install Splunk. That's what it's gonna
Okay.
be. This is your laptop, right? Your personal.
No.
Oh.
Should be okay.
Yeah, so you may not want to do that. Is this a job?
Yeah, but it's I use it for everything, so it should be fine.
Okay. All right. So yes. So share that other screen, the installation screen, and we'll just collect metrics to see performance. We won't do like what I mean. It's up to you. Whatever you want to put in there, it's up to you anyway. So share that other screen when you get a chance. Sometimes when you try to drag it over, it may still hide it though.
Okay.
Because you've shared like
One second. I can share both screens at once.
You should be able to. Like when you select it should allow you to be able to pick both.
Yeah. Something about over here. You see it now? No.
Nope.
Now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
All right, so check that box to agree. Next. Yep, that's fine. Just create a shortcut. It's going to create in the default path, which is going to be C program files, I believe. All right, so let's let it run through this quickly. Second. Oh, you got Docker.
Yeah. I'm playing around with it.
Okay. Are you root admin or root on this?
No. It's not gonna work.
Likely not. They may have a blocker, but we'll see. Do you also have a VPN you got to go through?
No, my VPN's installed, so
okay.
No, but I don't think it's gonna go through that.
We'll see.
I feel like I've already installed Splunk on here before, so I don't think it should have any issues.
Validating now, so let's see. I mean, if you can install applications, like custom ones, then you should be good. You might be.
Yeah.
Click at the bottom, you see where it says type here to search. Click CMD. Oh, yeah, right there, CMD. And then right click that, run as administrator. Should prompt you for a password if it, okay. So yeah, you're admin. It allows you to run. Good. So you can X that box. Good. All right. Let's wait for the validation to begin. Any questions so far? Concerns, questions that are not answered?
Prof, it's Clovis. Don't worry. I asked a lot of questions. Don't worry. Is there a textbook that we can buy, can order, that can follow alongside with the class?
Is it a textbook?
Yeah.
Man, Chloe, you trying to make me work hard, man.
I know. I get it. I know.
So I'm not doing my class again after this because I'm expecting my son to be born in December. So I'm going to take off a little bit. So during that time, I did plan on writing a book on guide on like an admin guide So that's going to be later. And then if you guys want to purchase it, yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, that's going to be my next project. But right now, I haven't haven't done that or started that yet, man. So
Okay. But right now, is there any recommended anything out there which you can recommend us?
yeah, so there's the Splunk cookbook. I think there's like a 2019 version or 2018 version. I don't know if there's a newer one than that, but it's on Amazon. Very, very helpful book. It's like it literally walks you through like basic steps and stuff. Timmy, the answer to the question is sometimes. It's long install. Dang, it's long.
Hey, sorry, are you familiar with Elk Stack?
Yeah.
You said yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be the would it be the same way you upload like different containers into Amazon? Would it be like the same way?
What do you mean containers? What do you mean? Like the images?
Yeah.
So Elk Stack it's like Splunk, right? So if you're talking about like the data is done a little bit differently. So let's see the phone applications which authorize set up do ignore. Looks like it's trying to register. Your case might be a little special here just because you may have some restrictions. I'm like trying to learn Node.js now, man. These people trying to run my brain dry. But yeah, Elk Stack um, uh, or Elasticsearch, rather, not Elk Stack, but Elasticsearch
Right.
would be um, Kibana and Logsearch combined, so that you'll be able to do some log metrics and analyzations. So the way that you onboard data is a little bit different. The input and stuff is a lot different than Splunk is. The way that they render information, I heard, is a lot easier than Splunk. I've only used it in terms of like testing, but I've not been like an Elk Stack admin or Elk admin. But I would say Splunk is a little bit harder in terms of learning curve, but in terms of how portable Splunk is, there's no beating it right now. You can use it in so many different ways. But if you're just talking about like onboarding data, that's different. If you're talking about, you're saying containers and whatnot, so that's sort of like a different story there. If you build let's say you build different containers inside of Docker, and then you want to install Elk on those, that would be different right there. I don't know if that's what you meant by containers in that words.
No, yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Is it supposed to be taking this long?
No, this is. I think yours is a special case because it's probably trying to go through loopholes. Like it's trying to register, but it's probably something that's blocking it from registering. So, does anyone else want to share a screen while his finishes up?
I think I have Rabbit installed on my system.
You have it installed, okay.
Yeah, I'll just check.
So you can share your screen, whoever, is that Elaine?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Elaine, you can share your screen. And once we finish the install, we're just gonna send some preliminary data to your specific index. If you know how to do it already, you just go ahead and do it. Send it to the index.
It's a host server screen sharing. You need to give me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let me post.
You shared it?
No, I gotta reclaim the host, man. So let me. All right, so now you should be able to do it.
Besides a strong marriage and date nights out just before the quarantine, Regis also credits Joy for his primetime game show gig. She said, you know, you're coming home early.
Okay, I already have it installed. Let's see.
Regis's family may have put it best saying.
Okay, so you got Splunk installed already? All right, cool. So, let's do this. Is this a full enterprise Splunk?
Full enterprise plan?
Yeah, is this, can you go on the web for this? No, I'm sorry, this is a universal forwarder. I see right there, it says universal forwarder. Yeah. All right, so deploymentclient.conf, change that quickly.
Deploymentclient.conf.
Yeah. So X this right here that you see at the top there. X this screen we're looking at. And then you see deployment client right there, right?
Yeah.
Click that. Change that to my server. Right. So let me give you my server's IP. So it's going to be 100.25.210.228. All right, and save that. All right, so restart your folder.
Kim was spotted out for the first time since Kanye apologized to her on Twitter. Sources tell ET Kim is happy about the apology, but quote, since Kanye hasn't been responsible.
You know how to use your services?
I don't know how to use the. Show me.
Go to the type. Go to this type. The here for search, whatever at the bottom there.
Where?
The bottom left of your screen.
Column left of the screen.
Type
Here.
To search. Yep. Type here to search.
Yes.
No. Type here to search at the bottom. You see that there?
Yeah.
Okay. So type in services. Click that services. Search for Splunk Forwarder down at the bottom here. Just spell SPL. It should come up. Click one of these and spell SPL. It'll come up. And just type it. All right. So you got to type it fast, like SP or something.
From Megan's baggage
There it is. You see it? So then right click it, restart. Right.
Okay.
So this is just an easy way so you don't have to go command line and
Yeah.
all that.
I
All right,
don't know.
so open up a web browser now while this Ford is restarting.
People don't like Chrome. Let me see.
So security groups. So since you're going to be connecting to me on 889, I should probably allow you to connect everywhere, right?
No stuff.
Zero. This is probably not wise, but it is what it is.
This crisis demands action. Senator Tom Tillis secured the resources North Carolina needs to fight this pandemic.
Okay. All right, so log in.
Password.
And make sure teachers have the resources they need to safely reopen schools. Tell Senator Tillis keep getting North Carolina what it needs to get us back on track.
I need to go copy my password.
Tomorrow on TV, our exclusive with Ron Howard talking Disney movie and his daughter Bryce Jurassic set cruises. He's a tough cookie if you enjoy the action.
I think it says it.
And State Farm is pretty and wearing good then. It's Jake from State Farm. What are you wearing? Jake from State Farm. Yeah, he's my good neighbor. State Farm is there.
Server starting.
That's weird. So press OK. Right click and stop it. Oh, you started. It looks like it stopped still. So start it. Yeah, sometimes some instances, I don't know what it is control wise. I don't know what the error is, but it acts up. But whenever you see that, just make sure you see that running thing next to Splunk for the server so that you know it's running.
Okay.
All right. So then go to the UI once you log in. Still trying to get your password right.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my password. Yeah, probably you should. Okay. I know you sent it to me.
Yeah, that should be right there. You got your password now.
She would get them together, knock their heads together, and tell them to sort it out. Yep, at the end of the day, she was a family over everything. When we come back, TV's priceless moments on the road to freedom. I love the Bahamas, whether feeding these mothers and wrestling with the sharks. Our favorite moments from our more than 200 interviews with freedom. Really spectacular stuff. This is his personal best.
Okay, so click settings, Elaine. Crap, I forgot you can't see that. So do searches, reports, and alerts. Let me grant you guys access to that index. Actually, I'm gonna give all you guys access to internal. I just thought about that. You guys will need that.
24 hours. Try new Microban 24. Spray on hard surfaces. Kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially. Once dried, it forms bacterial shield that keeps killing bacteria for 24 hours, even after multiple touches. Try new Microban 24. Available at multi-purpose sanitizing and bathroom spray. This is in manufactured for Microban 24.
Hey, fellas, we've got this already. It's about your food. It has spray-on flavor and powdered meat.
Okay, so matter of fact, let me just, I'm sorry. I'm gonna share my screen instead, okay?
No.
It'll be much faster this way. Quickly share my screen. All right, so Elaine, if I go to settings, folder management, I should be able to see your host. See here, it's Hey Jang right here.
Yeah.
Your server, this is your public IP, it's checking in. It's not configured to send anything, to get any apps yet. So we'll probably configure that next time to be able to get some data in. But right now, I just want you guys to connect to me on my deployment server, and then we'll create apps for you guys in server classes so that you can send stuff locally. So what I can do, I believe, I actually haven't used this tab in a very, 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 very long time. Let's see if this works for me. So I go down here. We'll do Windows event logs. So let's say we'll collect this. And then I'm going to select your Windows server. And I'm going to say new server class is going to be student Windows logs. So then what I'm doing is say I'm going to collect Windows logs from you. So I'm going to send that. I'm going to get application, security, and system data. I'm going to send that to, let's send this to Elaine. Yeah, I'm going to create your index. Shoot, what's the name of your index? Link index, sorry. Send it there. Like that. Then let's go see if any of your logs come in. So, let's do. Elaine, do me a favor. On your folder, restart it quickly again, like I showed you.
Okay.
We're gonna do a metadata this time. Metadata. Say type equals source types, index equals Elaine underscore index, because that's the only index we care about right now. Then we're just gonna run this as a all-time real-time search, which you typically don't want to do, but right now we're just trying to see if events will come in from Elaine's computer to me. So the other thing is,
You restarted.
you started?
I'm about to.
Okay, all right. All right, so while that's doing its thing, let's check on folder management still.
Okay.
Now you see Elaine has a new app that's been deployed, which we literally just configured. So underscore server apps, Windows event logs. So we go here now, student Windows event logs. So this is collecting stuff from Elaine's computer, deployed a few seconds ago, 100% successful. And we're just hopefully waiting now to get that data from Elaine's computer to us. So Let us know once you've restarted it, Elaine.
It says stopping. Let's see. Start. Sponsor local service. Start it and then start some services. Not good.
Is it running? Does it say running next to it?
It says stopping.
Okay. It's still stopping? Wow.
Yeah, it says still stopping.
It might be because I was pushing data to it too. So it might be trying to finish up that handshake of the events, or not events, but data it's receiving. Okay. After this, we'll be done, guys. Sorry, I'm 30 minutes over.
Special ET correspondent. Take a look at that, yeah.
Still say stopping.
Sheesh. Ooh, did you get yours installed finally?
No, I actually canceled out of it.
Sheesh.
Let me try and see again. Don't know why it's doing. Now it says starting.
Okay. And let me know when you see the running next to the right of that.
Running, yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's give it a few seconds. Hopefully your data comes in. And hopefully you don't have any firewalls that are blocking you from sending. 7.
The former model turned domestic diva turned 79 a week from today. So what's her secret to looking so amazing? One secret? I have been working for the last 6 months with a very accomplished dermatologist, and we have developed a line of CBD skincare, which will be coming out later this year. It's called 86.
Elaine, did you enable forwarding?
Yeah, I did.
On your indexer? I mean your forwarder?
Yeah.
Okay.
The data's not coming in.
Yeah, it's running right now. I don't see anything right now. Looking in the index. So we'll see.
Hi, excuse me. Can you check the messages, like whatever is saying? Sometimes it might not be indexing.
Oh, you talking about internal? Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go check that. Let's see. Tab. Let's see. Equals some score. So, and message, just do.
I listen, that made me love you even more. I said, Martha, she's just like us. I am. All right. Coming up, Regis and the holidays. One of our favorite ET moments at home with the Philippines. Things will go This is the entrance that was
Lane.
Oh, quick question. Is it different from the messages that's right there at the top, at the
What's that?
bottom? Yeah.
This is from, this one's just basically saying if I have data that's coming for, this is another user. We send data to another index that's missing. So this one's different. So Lane, let's check to make sure I can connect to you on my port, right? So your computer is, we'll go check your IP. Yours is this right here. This is your public IP address. So I'm gonna see if I can connect now to you. So ping. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's go to, doing it locally. So let's do ping. It's like you don't respond to pings, which is okay. Let's see if I can telnet to your guy on 9997. I can't connect to you on 9997, so that's an issue. I should be able to connect to you on 8089 because that's the only way you'll be. Well, I can't do a reverse connect your way, but you can probably connect to me, as you can see. So I believe it's firewall, to be honest. Let's do this. Elaine, share your screen one more time quickly. We will fix that and hopefully get this going.
I've shared the screen.
So you're sharing?
Yeah, you need to give me the.
Oh, make you host to be able to share. Okay. Yeah, you have it now. Let's stop this and then let's go to your screen. All right, so go down to the top, to the bottom left and click firewall.
Yeah.
Yeah, search, type here to search. Firewall. Yep, click that. All right. So your firewalls are up right now. Just disable them quickly. Turn Defender off, whatever.
That should do it.
Right, you see in the left, right there, 10 Windows Defender firewall on off right there.
Okay.
Right there. Yep. Yep. So turn it off. Off. Yep. Is this your personal computer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Off at the bottom there too.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then restart your Splunk folder. So just do a stop. Yep. There you go. All right. Let's see. If anyone else has the time tonight, I would try to install your folder or your full instance of Splunk. I'll put the IP in the group chat. Try to make sure that you can connect to my server. Sometimes your firewall may be up, so you may have to take that down temporarily or create a rule, which, Elaine, that's what you're going to do for moving forward. Right now, we just want to test to make sure you can connect and send data. And then you can enable the firewalls again. You're going to have to create a security group that allows you to send data to me on 9997.
How do you do that? I don't know how to do that.
We might have to do a separate meeting for that, or I might give you an article, a Google article for that. It's not that hard. You just have to inject that in your firewall rules. So let me send this to the class. So here, I'm gonna do 8089, guys. Set that in your deployment client.conf. And I'll give you guys the setting to do that. I have my UF in a distributed instance on Linux. Should I use that? Sure. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, if you have your environment set up in a different way, and, you have multiple different systems, that's completely fine. You can forward it all to our instance. Hopefully it's not too much data, but hey, if it is, we'll fix it. So press OK, Elaine. Okay. And then yep, start it up.
2 weeks ago, I saw Rich get out of the car with
Right.
Joy.
And then open up a command prompt, Elaine, at the bottom there. Right. Do delete that and then do netstat. Space dash TL. No. Space dash TL. And then run that. Do a space dash dash L. Let me see. You ran that.
And
do up arrow.
You want to do an NTLP?
I just wanted to see what's listening right now. Do an up arrow.
Space dash
No, up arrow to run the last couple commands you ran before. So just up arrow. Yeah, there you go. Just do a net stat. Yeah, just do a dash L. I just want to see what's listening right now. What the heck?
I mean, in Linux, I think NTLP will display.
Well, TLPN is TCP, UDP, protocol, whether it's listening or not. I just want to look at one flag. Is Windows just different?
Okay.
That's Q. Oh, do a dash AN. That's why, because it's different on Windows. Yeah, there we go. Run that. There we go. It's different Windows. I forgot. All right. All right. Scroll up. Let's look for 99997. And I think it's like find string to grep it or something like that. Find str. Let's see. Google. Netstats. Find str. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So do a pipe. So run that last command you did again.
I do a pipe.
Up arrow. Yep. And then do a pipe. Yep. And then FIND STR space 8089. Run that. All right. So, okay. So we know it's can send anywhere. And then up arrow. And then do 9997. All right, cool. Oh, it's listening. So sent something. So what's 192.168.1.1? Is that another server you were messing with?
Yeah.
Okay. So at least you have your forwarder configured to send. So let's see if we're getting data now. Let's see.
Michelle said the template for what morning talk ought to be. Audiences rely on readers that banner about what each has done.
Yeah, I still don't see your data yet. So let me grab control quickly. Let's make this, try to make this fast. So I'm gonna request remote control. Yeah, get it. All right, cool. So, all right, so let's go here. So your forwarder should have, oh crap, I can't click on. So go scroll to the bottom where you see that little, there may be something that way at the bottom here. I can't click on something. So at the bottom there, the folder, the yellow folder, click that.
Here.
Yep, click that.
Okay.
All right, and then go back, press the back button at the top there. I think I might be able to do it now. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is look in your apps. So you should have got the app. So you see you got your app, your underscore server student app.
Yeah.
You got that. And then, so what we'll do is go to local, then inputs. So the input should be collecting. Okay, so we got that. So I'm not sure why it's not sending it. So disabled equals false.
Our thoughts are with joy. Well, Kanye and Taylor Swift each made news over the weekend. What's the story there?
So you have the
Saturday entered the emergency room at a hospital near his Wyoming compound. He reportedly only made a brief stop there and left when he felt it was too crowded. As for Taylor, her surprise drop
you have the
continued.
data now. I mean, you have the
app.
The app. So you should be able to.
Reportedly suffering from anxiety when he went to the ER, but reportedly left after a few minutes. An ambulance was spotted at his ranch later in the day, but also spent some time at Kanye's ranch. Kanye shared a photo of them together in a giant garage. And Kanye,
The data's coming in.
Kim, I want to say, please forgive me. Last week, Kanye claimed they were talking about a divorce.
Counts.
Even Kanye, of course, has publicly feuded with Taylor Swift because one of the songs on her new will be about this.
Yeah, so we'll probably have to troubleshoot that next class to see why yours not coming in. I know it's sort of late now. But you have the app, so we know we have that. Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. Go to the yellow folder.
Which folder?
The yellow folder again.
Okay. I think, okay.
So let me control from here. All right, so what we can do, so we'll check the internal logs, which is in var, log, Splunk, and we'll look for Splunk D. And we can just scroll at the bottom to see what's happening when you're trying to send data. Okay, so you see it's, oh, your outputs is sending to this guy.
Oh, one of the indexes I have.
Yeah, so you have a different output. So that's the issue. So
Yeah.
let's see. Local. So we got to switch this guy. So that's the reason. That's why we're not getting your data. So let's do this. Let's copy this. Say, it's going to do round robin in case you want to send it to your guy also.
Okay.
You can always delete it if you want. All right, so I know we went over quite a few steps here. So Lane, go and stop and restart your folder again. The main thing I want you to do is change or install your deploymentclient.conf. And Elaine, when you get a chance, copy the contents of your deploymentclient.conf. You're gonna put that inside of the WhatsApp group, so people can create that file. And they're gonna create that same stanza line. So go inside the deployment client and then copy up that exact line. That's what people are gonna put inside of that file. So you're gonna create a file called deploymentclient.conf inside of your Etsy system local folder inside of Splunk. Once you install it, then it's gonna send the data to me. So that's what you're going to put inside of, before you send, put deploymentclient.conf on the line there. Okay. So that's going to be the name of the file that you're going to create inside of your Splunk folder. It's going to be inside of Etsy system local, and then you're going to create deployments client.conf. Put that in the chat for you guys. All right, so once you start this back up, the data should be flowing now. It shouldn't have no issues once this is back up and running. Let me check the front end while it's doing that. Sheesh, I'm running my time crazy today.
Fairlife is the milk that gives you more. It's ultra filtered.
Automatic.
There's more protein and 50% less sugar. So make the most of your morning with Fairlife ultra filtered milk. And now try new coffee creamers from Fairlife. That was the final
Okay, so it's up and running. All right, so go back to your folder, your little yellow folder there, Elaine. And then let me go back to Etsy. So we're gonna, not Etsy, I'm sorry, go back to var. So we're gonna go to var log Splunk. Then Splunk D is where your logs are. Most of your logs, let me say, not all. At the bottom here, we're looking for it to connect to 99997. So, okay, so she's connected to this guy. So now we see it's connected. That's a good thing. So then, if that's the case, we should see your data in Splunk. All right, we got data, Elaine. We got data. All right. So let me share the screen, and then we can finish off for today. Stop remote control. Let me regain and reclaim the host. Share my screen one more time, and then we will be done. All right, so now everybody can see my screen. Elaine's index is now populating with his internal data. So now you can do searches against your data, Elaine. So all time, we're collecting Windows event logs so we can see what, what's happening here. So now this is something that actually happens at your work environment. You use Windows event logs very often. You can look at your event codes that are happening here. So where's your event code? So you can look at all the different event codes. You can start researching it to see what you've been doing. You can bring in some resource data and stuff like that. You can do a whole bunch of other stuff now. And then if you want to modify it a bit more, what you can do then is you can go to settings, order management, and then the app section. And here is it's where your apps are at. If you modify the app locally and then you want to send it to me, say, hey man, I did some configurations on my app. I want you to modify my app. I can do that. I can upload your app for you and just modify it. That's how that works. So now you have your data, and that's what I want you guys to be doing. You have your data set now in Splunk. You can start going bananas and do whatever you want to do in terms of looking at that information that's now available for you. Any questions?
He's a breakout star, Hamilton. Now we have Philippa Sue break even more barriers. Plus, her incredible connection to his 3-year-old will leave you in tears if you cannot access the story. Participating dealers, you can shop at our place or yours. Call a company on Fighting Dealer today and get 0% APR financing for 72 months on select 2019 and 2020 models.
Enjoy your home more this summer with a new Champion sunroof. Right now is the best.
All right. Looks like no one has questions. They're just ready to sleep. Okay. Well, that's it for today, guys. I know we went over a lot for some of you, and for others, this might be a review. Get your either your folders or your full instance of Splunk installed by Wednesday. Everybody has to have that. There's no excuse why you shouldn't have that. If you need help, I got a few people in the class who are really good at installing this stuff. Get that stuff installed and get the data sent to me. And you can search. Make sure you know how to search for your index. That's a key. If somebody asks you how do you find indexes, you should already know how to do that. Get that installed. Get your data to me. It shouldn't take nothing more than 20 minutes or 30 minutes for you guys to get this done. If you run into firewalls and stuff like that, it may take a little bit longer. I can help out with that, but try to get that stuff installed and get it into Splunk so you can start searching your data. And this is what you'll use for the next portion of the class in the power user. We're going to be doing searches against your data. You're going to be creating dashboards and stuff like that for this. We didn't get into report accelerations or report or alerts and stuff like that, but my hope is by next class we'll be able to do that once you guys have your data in, and then you can create your own custom alerts and stuff. There is an issue that I will try to resolve hopefully by Thursday, which is the email component. I have to install a mail client on the AWS server. I haven't done that in AWS, but pretty sure it's pretty straightforward, I think. So we'll see. I'll try to get that set up so that we can have that situated for you guys. But that is it for tonight. If you guys have no questions, I will catch you guys on Wednesday.
And then, quick question.
Sure.
Now, this is if you're asked to filter data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just has to do that with the input.com where it just have to do the monitor, source types, and what again?
When you say filter data, what do you mean?
Like, okay, have data coming in and you want to filter it.
When you say filter, but like, what do you mean? Like, what exactly?
Or you don't want all the logs to come in, all the data to come in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can blacklist certain things. So that would be your props and your transforms. If you do it in your inputs, you can blacklist like a path, but you're not actually throwing away logs. If you want to throw away logs, you have to use your props and transforms for that to say, hey, I want this specific event code. I don't want this event code, things like that. That's using your props and your transforms.
And we were all so
thank you.
No worries. All right, guys. Well, I will catch you all next class. You all have a good night.
Take care.